Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Scoop featuring the champ, Bola Ray, on Talkin Fight. It's actually Friday night, and we've got ourselves a special guest coming on shortly. I think he's coming out of California, so he might be a little tied up in traffic right now. But
Yeah.
we got a young fighter by the name of Oliver McCall, if I'm not mistaken, all lined up. So you can give us some background on this young man, and
Uh,
let's see if he makes it through those traffic lights.
yeah. What can I say about man? They call over McCall. He was he was one of my he caught my eye early in my boxing career. Um, this is a guy who beat, in my humble opinion, two heavyweights who are in the top five heavyweights of all time. Yet he's not there. He knocked out Lennox Lewis. Actually, the first person to stop Lennox Lewis as a professional. Um, a true story about, I wouldn't call it redemption per se, as much as it's more of a triumphant story. He had some demons. He fought with demons. He pulled himself out of the cinder, and he finished off his career on a high note, clean and whatnot. One of the most titanic chins of all time, big puncher, Mike Tyson's former sparring partner, and this is when Mike Tyson was Mike, where he was like just destroying his sparring partners, let alone his opponents. And this guy went to war with him and never touched canvas. Um, I think on that alone, he needs to be in the discussion for uh, at least in the top 10 heavyweights of all time. Even though he was only a champion for a short period of time. Um, and I think that he could have lasted a lot longer if it wasn't for scenarios. Because I saw his fight with against Frank Bruno, and if you can imagine this, he didn't show up until the ninth after the ninth round. When I say he didn't show up, he was lackluster and what have you. But when he did show up, any second, Frank Bruno could have been stopped. Frank Bruno earned my respect as a survivor because of those last three rounds, because he was in trouble. And how he finished that fight on his feet, I still don't know. But that's how Oliver McCall lost his WBC title. He had coming up through the amateurs. He went to move back to Chicago and started his boxing career, amateur career, and in doing so, he won the Golden Gloves, the Chicago Golden Gloves, not once but twice. And in doing so, he shortly thereafter then turned professional. Um, and if you were to see the physique on the man, you could actually see exactly why he was so successful. Because, especially by today's standards, he wasn't overly tall, at a monstrous 6'2". Um, but what was noteworthy is his reach. I've said it once, I've said it a few times. A person's reach is supposed to be from fingertip to fingertip. On the average person, it should be your height. He was 6'2", which would put him at 74 inches. And yet, his reach was 82 inches. And then strong on top of it. He had some iconic fights in the amateurs. I mean, sorry, early in his career. And what ended up happening with him, he had some nail biters, some losses, but for the most part, it was more so that I think that he beat himself, because when it came time for him to actually show up, he showed up. He showed up in spades. I wanted to ask him personally. I genuinely want to meet the man. I don't get starstruck. I don't care. I'm a little vain for that. But this guy, I wanted to meet. He's done a lot, to say the least. When he lost to Tony Tucker, I felt bad for him, but Tony Tucker's a bad man. He was a fantastic boxer. I genuinely felt that Tony Tucker beat Mike Tyson. I still stand behind that. He won that fight against Mike Tyson when they fought. Mike never fought him again. But so be it. Now, post that fight, it landed him a shot against Lennox Lewis. And in getting that fight against Lennox Lewis, well, history was made. I wanted to ask him whether or not there was any truth to him going off. Okay. Him going off and having a little chat, some advice from Mike Tyson. And in doing so, prior to the fight with Lennox Lewis, and whether or not it was was that what made the difference? Was that little strategy, that short little right hook, or hook cross, short little inside slipping right hand that caught Lennox sleeping and put him on Queer Street? I don't know. After his epic defeat of Lennox Lewis, and the celebration in the ring has to be arguably the best celebration I've ever seen. And it was, the man was happy. The man was happy. But post that, he then went on to fight the legend himself, Larry Holmes. And granted, Larry was 40, but he's still Larry Holmes. And he outboxed Larry Holmes. I wanted to find out exactly what was that like. Was there anything called jitters? I don't even know if he was a fan of Larry's.
We're about to find out.
Well, apparently I'm going to find out.
So apparently, for all the viewers out there, we do have Oliver McCall in the green room waiting to enter our studio. And when he does, I will gracefully bow out and leave the two heavyweights to go toe-to-toe. Oliver is trying to get on. He's adjusting his cam and should be with us momentarily. So have yourself a great conversation with this man. I'll be in the green room watching. Should be fun.
Yeah, to say the least, it should be fun.
He's got some stories, I'll bet.
Wow. Good day, sir. How you keeping? You gotta turn your volume up. Why? Oh.
Well, while Oliver adjusts his audio, oh, now he's at least got it set up horizontally properly. Do we? Is that a car going by your house or Oliver's house?
That's Oliver's house.
Ah, dang.
I see you, man.
Turn on your microphone. Turn on your microphone, man.
You can't figure out how to do it.
Go to settings. Go to settings icon.
Our producer has to call you. Yeah. Our producer should call you. No, our producer will call you and walk you through
it. So he can hear us. He can hear us.
Yeah, he can hear us. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go to that gear icon and no. Looks like the old man's gonna have to get involved. Let me take this over, son.
Actually, it's not every day when you see the older dog going off and teaching the new dog about technology. That's impressive. That's impressive.
He's good. Laying a beating on his phone.
I wonder if he's still willing to actually fight.
I do believe the fellas at MG were telling me that he was still in the game.
That's
potentially,
impressive.
Yeah, potentially training. But training for what, I'm not sure.
56 years old. 56 years old.
Doesn't look 56.
Making old cats like you look bad. What's your excuse?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. What's your excuse? Exactly.
I think it's one of habit, and I never picked up that bad habit of going to the gym. Oh man, yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Splash, and John Candy sitting on a what do you call it? Box full of beers. Basically, he's sitting there drinking a beer and swinging his squash racket. That's me. That's me.
Yeah. I have a dog, and I think about this, but I could never be this lazy. Where I'm watching a video, or I saw a commercial where a guy is taking his dog for a walk as he's sitting on his sofa, and there's a treadmill in front of him and the TV off to the side. The dog's on the treadmill on a leash, and he's watching TV. Oh, he said, you know what? I give you kudos, golf clap for the ingenuity, but yeah, I can't pull myself to be that lazy. So yeah,
I can. This beer bill was well invested and well earned, and
fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, it's not as well rounded as it used to be back in my younger days, but practice makes perfect.
There you go.
So I wonder if the young man is coming back.
I wonder how he feels about all of these legends. These legends coming out and fighting.
The Pillow Fight League?
Yeah. Mike Tyson is fighting Vander Holyfield, but then wants to fight Lennox Lewis, and then wants to fight Tyson Fury.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. I can see you. Well, Lennox is. I haven't seen Lennox in years, but I don't think he's training. I wouldn't know if he was, but I don't think he is. Man, going
Well,
to call no
Lennox
Lennox.
Lennox had his own little league there going on in London, England for a while.
He did.
So I'm pretty sure he must have been in the gym, trying to look good for all those young guys and gals in the gym with him. So I'm gonna guess he's in
No,
shape. No,
I can't see that. I can't see that.
no.
I think Lennox is living comfortably, living large on the successes that he's made in his career, and
Once in
rightfully
a
so.
once in a suit, always in a suit. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's not like he hasn't earned it, you know.
That's we were talking about this on the Friday night panel earlier about the new heavyweights because the name Usyk came up again, and just how these new heavyweights, this new breed of heavyweights, are really helping to spur a lot of interest in boxing once again. So hats off to guys like Tyson Fury, and he's a bit of a loudmouth, but he's
Okay,
bringing the fans back,
you know,
and I think
when I
he'd
was in,
crush Mike.
no, I don't think so. I don't think he can crush anybody.
Really?
Um, no, I just think
It's a,
he's
it's a
awkward
big,
enough. He's big enough. He's awkward enough to actually go in and box you.
yeah.
But if you are of a certain level of ability, I don't see him destroying you. Like
Hmm.
with the exception of Deontay. Deontay was he is arguably has the greatest right hand in history, and I would challenge anybody to contest that. But that's all he had, and I'm not saying that he was okay with everything else. I'm saying that's all he had. He didn't have. He wasn't. His boxing IQ wasn't overly great. He didn't have a punishing jab per se. Mind you, I guess he would have set it up somewhat, but and he was thin, so thin that all it really took was someone to maul him, and he would have been that was the end result. Like Tyson just mauled him, stepped forward, made sure that his what's called he never got into that sweet spot range where he can actually fully extend on his right hand, and that was it. That was it. That was all. Outside of that, he beat Derek Chisora twice. Once he beat him in a southpaw stance, but he didn't stop him. David Hay stopped Derek Chisora. What do I call it? Dylan White
Usyk.
stopped. No, Usyk didn't stop him. Usyk isn't strong enough to stop
No,
the big boys.
He stopped Chisora.
He didn't stop Chisora. He went the distance.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Oh,
I'm hearing something. I'm hearing words.
okay, can you hear me now? There you
I
go.
can hear you
There
now.
you go.
How's the lighting?
How's the lighting?
Perfect. Don't touch a
Great.
thing.
Okay.
Hey,
How you
How you
doing?
doing, champ?
hey, Oliver, sit over in that chair.
All right. I got to let me adjust. Let me sit in another chair.
Ha
Wow. This is awesome.
My man.
Okay.
How
Okay.
you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. How's everything?
You know what? I'm just living the dream. I'm literally living the dream.
Why you say that?
This the opportunity to actually do what I do, being not like I'm also a fighter, but being a fan. Wow,
Yes, sir.
this is beyond awesome.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. If you're a fighter and a fan, man, you got best of both worlds. I
You
mean,
know
really,
me?
because I'm a fighter and I'm a fan.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, sir. Was you a fighter first or a fan first?
I was a fighter first.
I was a fan first. I think I was a
Really?
fan before I started fighting. I definitely was a fan first. My granddad was a boxer and a professional baseball player, and my dad played baseball and basketball, and he loved boxing, and he was a boxing buff. And when I seen Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman and those fights, I was
Yeah,
like interested in fighting, but I was more, then I started training later on, like 18, 19 years old.
that's
Yeah,
impressive. So then you got the bug from watching others.
exactly.
That,
Exactly.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I I was always a doer. I took up boxing late in life. I went off and I was like track and field and volleyball and all sorts of sports. But
Yeah.
then when I didn't qualify for the Olympics in track one year,
Right.
I said, let's give this boxing thing a try.
Yeah.
And then the world opened up. This is
Wow.
this is this is a phenomenal sport.
Yes. What
When
did you
you
what did you do in track? What you do in track?
I started off as a sprinter. I was a skinny, tall sprinter. But everybody told me that there's no such thing as a 6'5" sprinter. So this
Wow.
is back in
You're
the day
right.
of yeah, this is back in the day of Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was it. Everybody wanted to be like Ben. And Ben's like
Yes, yes. I
5'8",
know about being right, right, right.
right? So um, then I became a discus thrower,
Uh-huh.
and now look who's the world record holder is a 6'5", 210-pound sprinter. Yeah,
Wow.
about that.
Okay. I threw the shot put as a track. I played a year track at Park High School. I also played basketball a year at Park High School.
Okay.
I was a Park Panther. And my daughter, Geneva McCall, my youngest daughter, she set records in track. And I think she qualified. I think she almost qualified for the Olympics, somewhat like you did. And everything. Her
Wow.
name is Geneva McCall. Look her up. You could Google Geneva McCall.
Will
And
do.
yeah. So that track, I love track too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great foundation for me. Well, you're a shot putter. I did discus. I threw shot too, but like I do discus.
Right.
And I found it transformed my right hand because the ability to throw. It's the
Right.
ability to throw. It's the basic mechanics to how to throw a cross, to throw the right hand.
Right.
That was it. So
Where you live at? Where are you located at right now?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, you ain't what up? You in Canada? Man,
Up,
I went to Edmonton, Canada. I love Canada. I was in Edmonton, Canada, sparring with Mike Tyson some years ago, man. And
you
that
know,
was the first and only time I basically was in Canada. It was awesome. It was the biggest mall in the world in
that's it.
Edmonton, Canada. Is it still there? Obviously.
It's still there, the West Edmonton Mall.
Uh, is it
The
still the
West.
biggest mall in the world?
I think it's still the biggest mall in the world.
I think it is. I never been to a mall that big in my life. So I think that is. Yes, yes.
Yeah. No, West Edmonton Mall. I still remember when the first time I went there, and I said, "They have dolphins in a mall.
And
Are you kidding me?
a swimming pool in the mall, right?
In
Remember
a
that?
mall?
They
Yeah,
had waves. It was just, I'd never been to a place like that in my life since then. I mean, really, not like that. Not like
yeah.
that. Yeah, not like that.
Are
Yeah.
are you still? First and foremost, you brought up the fact that you sparred with Mike, and legend has it, you're one of Mike's toughest sparring partners. Never to touch canvas. That in its own right, especially when Mike was young, puts you in the conversation as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, in my humble opinion. Mike was no joke. What was it like?
Well, let me just tell you a little story, because Mike Tyson, my dude, first of all. I mean, it's so many stories that I can't wait to talk to Mr. Tyson because it's been a while since I talked to him. But let me just tell you a story. I was Mike Tyson's sparring partner, and this is my first time being in the pro boxing book. And historians and just an average fan can say, yeah, I want to see that book. It's back, I think it's back in 1987, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And in this book, it got me talking about sparring with Mike Tyson. And in the book, I talked about beating up Mike Tyson. I beat him up more than he beat me up. I'm a sparring partner. And
Yeah.
I come in the gym, And guess who I see read the book? Mike Tyson. I mean, literally, Mike Tyson looked at me like, dude. I looked up and laughed like I'm laughing. I looked up like, is we boxing today? He looked at me, and I knew what he was reading about, and it was very funny. It was very funny. So I have so many great stories on Mike, and I'm just elated that we're back at this age able to perform at such a elite level.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a testament. It's a testament. I can't tell you how many people who are, I'm only 5 years younger than you. And
young man.
But the thing is, to hear that guys our age is actually still doing what children do.
Right.
It's turning heads. We're rewriting history.
That's right.
We're rewriting history.
That's
age
right.
Ain't nothing but a number.
I mean, it really ain't. It really ain't. And you know what? I can feel the vibe even out. I mean, from what you're saying now, it ain't nothing but a number. It's how you really feel about it and how you use that to do and to improve yourself in whatever you want to improve yourself in doing, basically.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
You had a great series with Lennox Lewis.
Yeah.
Prior to your first fight with Lennox Lewis, there's a rumor that you went and talked with Mike Tyson, and he gave you some tips on what to do, what to look for, how to approach that, the strategy of how to beat Lennox Lewis. Is there any truth to that? And B, did it work?
Oh, that's so easy because now you bring it back good memories. And this is the truth from Oliver McCall. Praise God. Listen, yes, Mike Tyson did tell me some things and some pointers, but let me tell you exactly what it was, because I thank you, Lord, for a good memory. It was the night before the fight. I'm in London, England. Don King was there. I think it was at the press conference. No, it wasn't at the press conference. It was out the weigh-in or whatever. It was the night before the fight, if I'm not mistaken, going into the day of the fight. Don King gave me the phone. I said, who is this? At that time, Mike Tyson was in prison, for what? He was in prison, literally. And I heard Mike Tyson's voice. Hello? I said, hey, Mike, how you doing? Yes, Mike Tyson did give me some advice, some excellent advice. You know what the advice that Mr. Mike Tyson gave me? Mr. Mike Tyson said, Oliver. I said, what's up, champ? Because I was so excited. It was Mike. And I knew he was in jail, but I'm like, how is this happening? Y'all hooking this up like this? I'm in London too, and I know Tyson's in jail in America. I already know this. So, but Don King, would I have it just like this? I'm talking to you now. Tyson said, yeah, it's me. I said, oh, Mike. So Mike, he gave me some great advice. This was the advice. He said, Oliver, do Lennox Lewis fight Lennox Lewis like you be fighting me? You finna be champion. I said, hey, Mike, I'm finna be champ. And click. And I hung up the phone. I was elated to talk with Mike. I was so excited because we talked for just that brief moment. If I'm not mistaken, that's basically what was said. Don King, like I said, gave me the phone. And I was like, who is this? Because I'm like, Don, because we was at some big gathering or something. And I answered the phone. It was Tyson. I say, Mike, I'm excited, of course, because, I'm right what I know Tyson was at one time before he just annihilated the heavyweight division. And I was part of that in preparation, getting them preparation for that. I'm honored. And I'm honored for the things that I learned being with Tyson, some of the personal things that I've was able to just get to know about him as a person, on things he'd done and said, and just private little things we talked about. And I'm very honored. I mean, literally. I learned some things concerning his style on protecting me on where I'd never been knocked down. There's some things I learned with Kevin Rooney. I have to mention Kevin Rooney because Kevin Rooney at that time learned me some things, teaching Tyson as I watched Tyson do some of the things that he'd done to become such a great champion that he has become. And those things even with me now. It's some things that I have evolved from
Really?
what Tyson done and the things that I have learned. I mean, over the last 7, 8 years.
Wow.
So yeah, literally.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
impressive.
looking forward to showing a little of that, and some things are in work right now to make that happen. And I'm forward to being a great big part of it.
That's what that was my next question. Like I said, you're turning 56 soon,
In a couple of
and yet,
days,
and
week and a half.
exactly
Woo-wee! 66, 56, 66. Woo-wee.
56.
I'll be there 10 more years. In a couple of days. Woo-wee! I dare get my picture for real. Hey, I mean, I got to pay my little taxes. I got my out straight. Where my little money at? I can lay back and drink lemonade, go to fights and train fighters and whatnot.
That's fantastic. What is you're going to be fighting, still fighting, which I'm hoping that kids look up to you and see exactly you as an example as to what could happen, what you could do. Live life straight, clean, and maybe you too can actually make a career of boxing. Um, what do you think what do you attribute to your longevity in the sport, other than that Titanic chin of yours?
Ooh, I mean, of course, but number one, God's mercy, man. The things that I've experienced outside the ring as well as inside the ring, uh, God is grace, His mercy, and the reason why I say both like that because I was looking at the second fight with me and Lennox Lewis.
Yeah.
And this time I watched the fight. This is the first time I've really done this. I don't know why they done it, but it was a different look at it. It was without anybody saying anything.
Oh,
I
with the
just
volume off.
off totally.
Yeah.
And when I really looked and set myself outside of that experience then, and I looked at some of the punches that he did throw, and they hit me and connected, and certain things I was such in the zone on just what was going on and just certain disappointments basically in myself and certain other things I was disappointed in. And as I seen it that time, I knew it wasn't me. I mean, I admire, first of all, I admire and respect Mr. Lennox Lewis as a great fighter, and I was blessed to really sit with him. I mean, at the table I'm sitting now, he was sitting right next to me just a couple of years ago. We was at an event, and we laughed and talked and had a good time and
Lennox is a good guy.
everything. Oh, Lennox is a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, Lennox a cool dude. I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
just,
is.
I mean, for real. I mean, and so as I was experiencing that, man, I'm just elated to be here and have my faculties, little sense, and doing the right thing and trying to move forward.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
No, man. It's I like I said before earlier in this podcast, I'm not one to get starstruck because I'm an actor. I've been in movies. I've been with Will Smith.
Oh, for
And
real?
oh hell yeah!
I'm a Will
nope.
Smith fan, man. I'm a Will Smith fan.
Will Smith is a beautiful man. He is.
I get
He is. He is exactly like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
Except he swears a lot. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. He is a complete ass, a complete pragster. He is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, except he swears a lot.
He just go off a little bit with the words. Okay.
That's it. But I know Lennox. I know quite a few athletes and stuff like that. And I'm an athlete.
You know who who got hit by a bike and passed there in London. He was a champion who Lennox fought. Mason, Gary Mason.
He passed?
Yeah, didn't Gary Mason get hit by Gary Mason? Gary Mason
I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear that.
I heard he got hit by on a bicycle or something. Gary
Wow.
Mason, you know, he fought Lennox Lewis for that European title.
Yeah.
Check that out. And if I'm wrong, I want to know now to make sure if am I just something that I seen that it's not true. I want to know if Gary Mason's still alive. That's what I want to know.
Fair enough.
Check that out for me, because I got to know him a little bit, and he was out of all the heavyweights I've met, him and who else? The Polak that fought
Galata.
Yeah, Galata. Galata and Mason is the only two heavyweights with some of the strongest. Man, they had a concrete hand that was, Gary Mason, because I remember shaking his hand when I was in London. I was sparring with Frank Bruno. When I was sparring with Frank Bruno, I met Gary Mason. This dude, it was built like, I'm like, this dude. And when I shook his hand, him and Galata, Andrew Galata got a handshake like a brick. He liked that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you sparred with Frank Bruno before or after you fought him?
Before.
You sparred with him before you fought him?
The first time I ever left out the USA was to London, England. I went to London, England to spar with Frank Bruno. What happened? Did he get knocked out? Let's see. Ask Bruno. Yeah, I sure went there. My first time ever out of the United States. My first passport. I went to London, England, and I busted his eye. The first time I sparred with Bruno, I gave him a big shiner. Ask Bruno. He gave me a ride home. Listen to this. He gave me a ride to the hotel with he had a nice little black eye, driving 100 miles an hour. You know how y'all drive in London. Y'all drive kind of crazy there. You know y'all drive kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, y'all drive kind of crazy. So big old Frank Bruno driving like that, it scared me. And I'm looking at him like, man, you ain't trying to kill me because I hit you in the eye like that. And I realized everybody was driving like that. Yeah, it was funny.
He got hit by a van.
He's gone. My manager just looked it up. He's passed. He got hit by a van off a bicycle, if I'm not mistaken, right? When I heard about that, yes, my manager just confirmed that. When I heard about that, I thought about that time when I met him and such a gentleman that from my perception of that time I met him, I'm surprised you don't know.
No, I just read it myself. My producer just pulled it up for us and said, 2011 he was hit by a van. I did not know. And the thing is, 2011 I had just left London, England. I was in camp with David Hay in 2010. Right. I had no idea.
And 10 years later, Hagler, he just passed. You know, Hagler. Hagler was a big fan of mine. He came specifically there. He came and watched me spar and everything before I fought Larry Holmes. I remember talking with him, eating at dinner, and we talked about some things that we had in common as far as just social things. And because I asked him, about why he left. Because I was a boxing fan. Like I said, I was a fan before I was a fighter. And my dad used to always wonder why Marvin Hagler left after he fought Sugar Ray Leonard. And now looking at some of the things that has been brought up in the public eye on just a lot of different things, it brought out a lot of just understanding of the conversations that I had with Marvin Hagler. He was there when I fought Larry Holmes at the Burden of Proof. And so I was blessed to really get to know him personally a bit and have dinner with him several times. And I just thank God for him. Yeah.
He was one of my favorite of all time.
Oh, definitely.
He was wow. He was nothing short of impressive.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
nothing
Yep.
short of impressive.
Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
does once this whole COVID stupidity ends, what does boxing life look like for you? Will we be seeing you in the ring shortly?
Yes, hopefully. We got some things in the mix right now. And right now, I just want to just bask in the day. I'm enjoying this conversation. And in this conversation, yes, I do have something on the horizon, and hopefully, I hope the fans there in Canada, I mean the whole country, Canada, tune in and just check it out when it do come out. I'm
Most
just gonna wait and
definitely.
be patient, let you know I'm all right, and I'm preparing and I'm ready. But in a couple of months,
Fantastic.
I'm pretty sure something gonna happen.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring you up, come up to Canada, maybe even get you in the ring and do what you do. You know,
Yes,
have you go to work in your office. You know,
yes, sir. Let's
yeah,
do it. That's what I do. I've been doing it for 30 something years. That's what I do,
right.
man. I'm a fighter. I mean, they said, what Oliver do? Well, man, he been fighting since he what, 18. How old is he now? Well, he's 50. Well, he's a
Oh, you're going
fighter.
up 40 years. Man, that's going up 40 years.
Okay. Never been knocked down. I'm
Oh,
okay. I mean,
wow.
God has been so good. I mean, really, and I'm just elated and thankful. I'm more. I don't know. I'm happy that I'm thankful, but then I'm thankful that I'm able to be happy without all the little defects that go along with the sport, which some of us go through. And
Yeah.
Gerald McCullum, I talked with what's the guy that just Michael. Michael second to none. I just talked to
Oh,
Michael
Michael
second.
Nunn.
Yeah, I just talked to Michael second to none, and I got talking with him. We were signing autographs. We talked about Gerald McCullum, and he had just went to see Gerald McCullum. Was going to see him, and so it's a lot of other things that I really want to do in the sport of boxing. For those who really love boxing, for those who have they sweat blood and tears in the ring and things of that
Yeah.
nature. Some of us that is blessed to come back with blessings, we could share that blessing with those that's less fortunate, that help those piggyback to make the millions and billions of dollars. And I mean, I think that the fighters should look out for each other a little bit more. You know,
Yeah.
I believe the families of the fighters would think so because of the risk and the things that they're sacrificing as far as the fighters leaving their family, loved ones, and health is being jeopardized. All these things should be addressed in the sport. So that's something I definitely want to address on my comeback, or when and or if and when I do fight.
Fantastic. Mr. McCall, I want to thank you for this opportunity. We've run out of time, but I would love to have you come back. It's been nothing short of a pleasure meeting you. It's been nothing short of a pleasure interviewing you. And I'm like a school kid in a candy store waiting to see what you bring out post COVID in the ring. I would like to, for the most part, I just want to say thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been
God
nothing short
bless
of
you.
a pleasure.
Looking forward to seeing you again, talking with you again.
Cheers.
All right,
Cheers.
much boxing.
Ah!
Yeah, so
Now,
much boxing.
if you like the show, please hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget the notification bell. It's your boy Bola, and that's the scoop.